Wow, YouTube, Redhead Takes here. We are back with another divisional playoff preview. For the second week of the playoffs, the divisional round. Always considered one of the best rounds of the playoffs out there. And it usually is, because it usually has the best games, because usually pits two teams that shouldn't be playing each other until the end of the championship game, but always have to go in the divisional. And we have a couple of great games this week. Well, I think they'll all be good. Even the Cowboys versus the 49ers should be a good game, at least for the most part. And the Jags, I think, showed enough last week. While, yes, it was a comeback, they can make a game a good game. And the Chiefs can be susceptible to certain things. But last week I went 5-1. It was perfect until Monday night. I don't know why I stuck with the Buccaneers. I should have known that the Cowboys would win, because the Buccaneers are just awful. And yes, the Cowboys played well, but they played against a team that has completely given up. And a quarterback that needs to be put out to pasture for good. But let's get into the games. As always, you know where to find me. Twitch, Rumble, Vocals, trying to make those last two platforms into tech and not just all tech. But let's get into it. Jags and Chiefs. Like I said last week, we all saw the amazing comeback. I made a video about Trevor Lawrence, the legend of Trevor Lawrence coming back in the playoffs, and the NFL is staged. It's staged. It's like, sure, maybe, to the powers that be. But do you really believe that the players set out to stage games? I just can't believe that. If that's the case, NFL has become WWE, which we all know that's choreographed. It's not fake per se. The moves are still happening and stuff, but the plot lines and the narratives, those are all staged. But in the NFL, I don't think that was staged, at least by the players. Maybe the powers that be wanted it that way, but there wasn't any big plays that really changed it, except other than that one that Joey Bosa throw his helmet down on. But the Jaguars, I think, have a decent chance to win. Yes, it'll be a tall task going into Kansas City. I wonder if Kansas City pumps volume into the stadium. Let me know what you think down below. I think so, because it seems very loud for an outdoor stadium. And yeah, the Jags, I think, have a good chance to win, but Trevor Lawrence cannot repeat what he did last week for sure. Yes, the first two interceptions really weren't on him, but still, with 4 interceptions in the first half, it cannot happen against a team like the Chiefs. You can get away with it against a team like the Chargers because of their proclivity to charger their way through games and lose. And the Chiefs, coming off a bye, they're still a great team. Their defense is lacking a little bit and can be had, but their offense is as good as anybody out there. Isaiah Pacheco running the ball consistently, along with Jerick McKinnon. That's a great 1-2 punch. And then Patrick Mahomes, of course, with Juju, Kadarius Toney, and all the rest. Travis Kelce, of course. They have a great offense. And the Jags have a good defense at times, but it can easily be had for sure. The Jags will probably need to improve in the offseason, obviously, if their season comes to an end this weekend. But I think there's a feasible chance for them to win. I don't know how likely, but I can't wait to see it. Oh, wait, I have to work. I cannot see it. So let me know what happens down below in the comments, or hit me up at the other social media platforms to keep me informed, because it sucks that I'm going to miss out on this game myself, but maybe I'll be able to get some highlights later. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I don't want to go with the Chiefs. I don't want to pick them. I'm sick of seeing them out there. They're not as egregious and hateable as the Patriots are, but they're not my favorite regardless. But yeah, the Jags have a good chance to win, but I think the Chiefs pulled us out. And it might be a bad game. It could be a close game. I think it's within 10 points, but I think the Chiefs probably pull away at the end. Next we have the Giants at the Eagles, a very anticipated matchup. The Giants coming off that win against the Vikings. And the Eagles coming off a bye. They kind of limped into the playoffs a little bit. It sounds like Jalen Hurts might be at 70%, so with the injury sustained, I think there's a real high chance of re-injury, that shoulder. We'll see how he plays. We saw in the games where Jalen Hurts wasn't playing, because Minshew is not able to really run the ball, their running game really lost a lot of its potency, and that's not good for their success. Their offensive line is good, but they really need Jalen Hurts out there being able to run the ball to combine with the efforts of Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, and the others. The Eagles, I think, should probably win this game. The Giants, they're just playing with house money. Daniel Jones had a great game last week. Saquon Barkley had a great first half. They kind of moved away from him in the second half, but they can keep him going throughout the whole game. They have a really good chance to win. That defense is really sneaky good on the Giants. Dexter Lawrence is just a beast in the middle. He just wrecks shop. It'll be interesting to see what the Eagles do with Dexter Lawrence, because their offensive line is great, but he's just a monster out there. They still have Kayvon Thibodeau and others on the defense that should be able to give the Eagles all they can handle. It is in Philadelphia, of course, and that fan base is so ungrateful and ridiculous. Probably the most hated fan base in the league, other than the Cowboys or the Vikings. Probably the Patriots too, but this should be a really good game. I think it should be close. I think the Giants have a really good chance to win. This could be a real situation of number one seeds coming off a bye. And this, if one of the one seeds were to lose this week, it'd probably be the Eagles. Just because it's the divisional matchup. Third time playing each other this year. And we all know how hard it is for one team to beat another team 3 times in the NFL. I'm sure the 49ers made it look easy at the end, but they too struggled at times. But I'm going to go with the Eagles, probably within 3 or 5 points, but it should be a really great game, and I can't wait to watch. Next we have the Bengals and the Bills, probably the most anticipated matchup of the weekend. I mean, with all that happened with Damar Hamlin and that game being canceled and basically ending up with a neutral field for either team, again, if they either one of them goes on to play the Chiefs next week, and it's just going to be a great matchup. Both have great offenses, both have good defenses, but both of them can be had. The main X factor will be for the Bills to cut down on the turnovers. Bengals haven't struggled with turnovers too badly this year, especially Burrow. Other than that first week where he had all those interceptions, he hasn't really had a lot of games where he's had multiple interceptions in a game. But I cannot wait to watch this. Josh Allen, boy, is probably one of the best throwers in the league, maybe even the best. He just makes it effortlessly, although he does have a couple bonehead mistakes here and there. The offensive line for the Bills is going to have to hold up. You can't have, like last week in the third quarter against the Dolphins, where Josh Allen was just killed because he didn't look off to the running back in the flat, and then he got killed and he fumbled. But that defense is great for the Bills. That offense is really good for the Bills. Eli Apple for the Bengals might struggle with Stephon Diggs just a little bit. Now, if they're able to get Diggs open down the field, that'll be really big for the Bills. Bengals, again, have a lot of receiving threats, and the Bills might not have the requisite bodies to handle that threat. They do have a couple of unsung defensive backs, I think, but they can be had. I think the Bills win this game because I really think the Bills, this is their season. If this season isn't it, when is it for them? I mean, with the Damar Hamlin incident and just this city is just starving for a Buffalo. I mean, with the 4 Super Bowls and the 90s. They're just starved for it. They have the second best fans in the league behind the Packers. Yes and no. Packers fans are still better, but Bills fans, you're a great bunch of fans, and your team is really great to watch. And I envy you guys that you're in this situation. I think it'll be a really good game. I don't see how it ends up as a blowout on either side, but it should be a great game. And I think the Bills pull it out just a little bit. Although if the Bills lose, I will be totally not shocked. And I will be totally ready to eat crow on Monday. In my videos in the past, I know I've made it clear that I want the Bills to win the Super Bowl, but I'll try to be as unbiased as possible. Bengals have a great chance to win. Bills have a great chance to win. Two great teams going up against each other in what should be the NFC or the AFC Championship game, not against the Chiefs, because everybody's sick of the Chiefs unless you're a Chiefs fan. But Bills win. And finally, we have the Cowboys versus the 49ers. Cowboys looked great last week, but again, they missed those 4 extra points. It's a real oddity. So they signed another kicker. We'll see what happens. I don't think that happens again, but it's a really weird oddity. 49ers struggled a little bit in the beginning with the Seahawks last week, being down in the first half, but then they pulled away and imposed their will on the Seahawks and really exposed the Seahawks as frauds. They were just happy to be there, and they really weren't a threat to win. And the 49ers have probably the best team in the playoffs remaining. As much as I love the Bills, I think the 49ers still have it more. But yeah, the 49ers are a great team. So many weapons. And their defense does have a weak secondary at somewhat, I think. It's good at times, but it can be had. We've seen earlier in the season that, like against a team like the Chiefs, that they can't stand up to them with an offense, they could easily get blown out. Brock Purdy's going to have to be perfect in this game. Well, not perfect. He's just going to have to be really good and limit mistakes. He hasn't made a lot of mistakes so far in his young career, but it'll be even more crucial this week, because with the Cowboys, you never know what you're going to get. They have a great defense, but then they don't have a great defense. They're able to rush the quarterback, and then the next week they're not able to rush them as well. And again, the Cowboys played a weak and defeated team in the Buccaneers with a quarterback that should be done in the NFL, but got to pay the piper for the devil. But I think the Cowboys have a reasonable chance to win this game. I don't know how likely. I think the 49ers are still going to beat them. I guess if the Cowboys win come Monday, I won't be shocked, but I will be a little bit, just because of the overwhelming juggernaut that is seemingly the San Francisco 49ers. But the Cowboys can beat them because of that that weaker secondary. I think they can beat them over the top, and I can't wait to see it in action. Cowboys are going to have to hold up against that defensive line. They're going to have to hold down Christian McCaffrey to a certain extent, and Deebo Samuel. There's so many weapons they can beat you at, but it's going to be the battle of the quarterbacks. Purdy doesn't have a lot to prove. I mean, if he loses, it's just he took the team as far as he could, and that's that. But Dak, he has a legacy that he has to uphold. He has to finally win. I mean, sure, he won last week, but he needs to beat a legitimate team, not a team that was in there just because of the division rule. It's going to be a really interesting game to watch. I think the 49ers win, but it should be a good game overall, with the Cowboys having a reasonable chance to win. But there's all my picks for the week. As always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure you give it a like, share it around, and subscribe. I hate that phrase so much, but likes really help drive it forward and get it exposed to more people, as well as subscribers always helps. And as always, Rumble locals trying to make those bigger for me. I haven't added a lot of content there in the future just because I haven't been getting much feedback, but if you want to find me in other platforms that don't censor me, those are the places to go. But as always, have a great day, and God bless.